How concerned are you about getting acceptance with the other players?
I think they hopefully players will see that they don't judge me because I'm gay. They see, hey, does this person works hard? Can he win us games? Can he win us a championship? Well, I can.
We welcome in our analyst as well as NFL player Ryan Clark to talk about acceptance of the first openly gay player in the league. Ryan, welcome back to the show. We're asking you this question. How do you feel Sam will be accepted once he's in the league?
I think he will be accepted fine. If he comes in, works hard, shows that he wants to be a part of the team and he wants to be a solution and a help in them winning football games and hopefully winning championships. I heard earlier they spoke to Deron's tweet about, there have been gay players in the NFL before, and there have been guys that, I've been on teams with, that guys thought may be gay and situations like that. And it was dealt with fine. I think the difference is here because he's openly gay, because this announcement was made, is that you have to deal with it also outside of the locker room. I think a big reason why it works so well in Missouri is that these guys were able to build a relationship with Sam and kind of deal with it internally, once he did come out to them in the preseason. So for the team he goes to, it's going to have to be guys who are open to understanding, guys who are open to allow him to come in and be a part of their system, a part of their locker room, but also understanding, hey, we're all here for one common goal, and that goal is to win football games. And I think once Michael Sam shows people that that's what he's there for, that he's not there to do anything else but be a football player just like everyone else in the locker room, I think things will smooth out and go through fine after a transition period of understanding one another.
Stephen A., your take.
Well, I'm not in any position to disagree with Ryan about that. Ryan is an NFL player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been in the league for quite a long time. He's doing an incredible job doing work for us. And he knows the game and he knows the nuances of the game. He's in that locker room as we speak. And so for me, I'm certainly not going to disagree or challenge anything that he had to say, that he just said. All I'm going to point out is that, again, there's a difference between being open about who you are and not being open about it. Because when you're open about it, that means everybody knows. And when everybody knows, that means everybody's watching. And if everybody's watching, then you may have some people within an NFL locker room that's uncomfortable with that somewhat microscopic scope placed on them, and as a result may act differently than they would had people not been privy to such information. And so because of that, you can't fully predict how somebody is going to react because of it. And as a result of it, you keep your eyebrows raised and you understand that there are things that are possible. But again, Ryan Clark would know a hell of a lot better than me. So that's really, I just tend to feel that way, but I really don't know.
Let me ask Ryan a question. Ryan, just play the hypothetical game with me. Let's say you wind up on Michael Sam's team next training camp. How quickly would you tire of day after day after training camp day getting asked by a lot of national media members, how is Michael being accepted? You would probably get the same question for several weeks on end. Do you think you would get sick and tired of that question?
That's the part I'm talking about with him being openly gay, as opposed to, guys just, thinking that a guy's gay or, having rumors about a guy being gay, because those things are handled internally. Missouri didn't have to deal with those questions. Missouri didn't have to deal, the players on his team didn't have to deal with answering that question day after day. Michael Sam coming out and being openly gay, it opens that up to a lot of players. And I think you would tire after a while, but you have to understand that's the way the media works. And this is a hot topic. This is a very important thing. He's the first openly gay player in the 4 major sports. So when a guy does something like that, it's going to be media scrutiny around. It's going to be questions that have to be answered, and answer those questions. And kind of to Stephen A's point about guys maybe being uncomfortable and about guys acting differently. There are guys on my team right now, even as being a captain, with the way that meetings are structured, the way that practices are structured, that I don't get an opportunity to have a conversation with, that I don't get an opportunity to even say hello to or what's up, because while we're working in one place, they're working in another. And so I think if a guy is uncomfortable, if a guy wants to distance himself from Michael Sam, he can do that. Just because you're not necessarily in support of an openly gay player doesn't mean that you're in opposition. There are veteran guys who don't talk to rookies until they've proven themselves as good players, until they've proven themselves as trustworthy. And even after that, they never have a relationship. So I think more guys will lean toward, not having a relationship than being in opposition or being in a situation to where they harass a guy. I think it would be naive on my part and naive on anyone's part to believe that everyone will be in full support, or to believe that everyone will truly be very comfortable with this situation. But like I said, when it comes down to winning football games, if Michael Sam can help a football team win football games, guys will accept them. Guys will understand that they have to play with them and that their coaches, GM, and owners made this decision because they felt like their locker room could handle this situation. The questions, you will be tired of answering them. I'm sure Michael will be tired of answering those questions himself. But as he begins to integrate himself into a program, into an organization, and make plays on the football field, I feel like those things would dissipate a bit.
And how much of an issue, Ryan, do you think there could be going forward with any contingent of religious players on your football team?
I think that's the toughest thing. Biblical beliefs, what people believe, especially in Christianity. I'm a Christian myself, and I have my biblical beliefs. But one of those beliefs is also not to judge. One of those beliefs is, he who without sin cast the first stone. I think so for us, that is something you kind of want to steer clear of analyzing through the media, but it will be a part of what goes on in locker rooms. And I think as Christians, even though showing that biblically this may be something that you may not agree with, you also know that you have to not judge. You also know that you can't persecute this young man for the way he lives and for being an openly gay player or just being a gay man at all. So I think you try to steer clear of those things in the locker room. Football is something that can bring all those things together, people from all different walks of life, classes. And so when we come in and we try to win football games, that's what we'll focus on. I think that'll be the focus of each team. I think the coaches of whatever team Michael Sam goes to would tell them to focus on that. And and I think you go from there. Obviously, there will be those conversations. Obviously, there will be those Bible studies. There will be those chapel services where this is discussed. I think, but it'll be discussed on both ends, whether or not it's biblically right to certain people, and also whether or not, judging is right. And I think all those things get hashed out if people are truly walking with God and walking in the Christian way.
Well said.
Ryan, one of the things that I alluded to when I was talking to Skip earlier about it is that I brought up Jonathan Martin, certainly not in this context, but in the context of the whole bullying scandal involving Richie Incognito, and ultimately, as we learned, just the culture of the locker room inside the Miami Dolphins organization. And he felt a bit ostracized, and as a result, he just couldn't take it. It wasn't just the language, it was the fact that everybody was different from him, and because they knew he was different from them, they treated him in a certain way. So it's not as if somebody has to overtly or openly use the fact that Michael Sam is gay and they know it as an excuse to come at him. They can find another reason to come at him in a way that makes him feel a tad bit ostracized. How accurate am I in surmising that is a possibility, and how does an NFL locker room deal with that potential reality?
I think you're extremely accurate, and this being the reason. Mike Wallace, when the Jason Collins announcement was made, he tweeted a statement, and what he said was, I'm paraphrasing here, but that he just didn't understand it. And I think that would be the overwhelming feeling of many NFL players. It's just not understanding. Many of us didn't grow up with friends that were openly gay, or maybe even family members that were openly gay, so we didn't understand how to have those relationships. You don't know what jokes will be okay. You don't know how you can pick at a person or interact with a person that's openly gay if you've never done it. So I think a lot of guys will stray away from those conversations. A lot of guys will stay away from those jokes. And in doing that, he may feel ostracized. He may feel alone at times until you can understand what won't get you in trouble. You have to realize, too, now with him being openly gay, guys will be extremely weary of what they say around him. They will be extremely weary of what they say to him. So in that, it may be less conversations. It may be less opportunities to gain relationships in the locker room or to gain friends. So I think that is a very accurate statement to make, that he may feel ostracized, not necessarily from what he hears out of guys' mouth, but from the things that he doesn't hear, from, you know, guys really not being open to being around him or to being his friend for fear of him being able to go to someone and say, you know what, when I'm around this guy, he says things that make me uncomfortable, and then having to answer questions, you know, to coaches, and to GMs and to owners. And so I think that is something that'll have to be worked out in the transition of him being a part of a team and integrating himself into the locker room.
All right, Ryan Clark, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Well done. Coming up next, our top